Spaghetti? That's Italian, you moron!
So, Disney released the intro to an upcoming cartoon and Latinos hate it. Scroll around on Twitter and you'll see a ton of angry posts in Spanish thrashing the show Primos. It's got to the point where Disney removed their upload of the intro from Facebook and Twitter, though it's still on YouTube for now. Why are people so mad? How did this show become the Yolanda Saldivar of cartoons? March 30th, 2025, Yolanda Saldivar leaves Mountain View Prison in Galveston, Texas. Be there! I do not condone exacting revenge on behalf of Selena, this is merely a joke. Now, my parents are both from Mexico, yet I happen to look white, thus I play for both sides and lose each time. So I got some say in the matter. Primos has some genuine issues, but others I feel are misconstrued or mildly bad, but because of the previous issues, they pile on to look sloppy and poorly researched. The series is about a girl living in a house along with a bunch of her cousins, her primos, though the intro song keeps repeating Oye Primos, meaning hey cousins.
Oye Primos, why you all up in my face? Oye Primos.
If you don't know, Oye is singular. You say that when you refer to one person. She should be saying Oye Primo or Oigan Primos. I struggle with Spanish, did I get that right? Some people point out that when you Google translate hey cousin, it inaccurately leads to Oye Primos. So it's possible it got that name from that, but who knows how they goofed it up. One justification has been that it's based on the personal experience of the creator growing up, not in Mexico, but in LA. You can see the Hollywood sign in the intro. A crew member of the show further explains this perspective on their Instagram stories.
The Spanish language is not a Latin American language. It's a language the Spanish conquistadors forced upon Latin American people. The only reason we're Latin people and not Native American people is because of that distinction.
I don't know if that part was necessary, but continuing on.
So be mad at me all you want for misspelling words in Spanish. Be mad at me all you want for mispronouncing words in Spanish. That doesn't take away from the fact that I am a Mexican-American, Native American woman. We're trying to make a good show for kids that feel left out, for kids that are different, for kids who don't have a full grasp on any language, no matter where they live. And if you're gonna be mad at that, I don't know. Be mad then.
So I get what she's saying since I relate. A lot of cartoons from The Simpsons to Gravity Falls are based on the creator's childhood. Primos is about Latinos growing up in America, not Mexico. I get it. My family's from Mexico. I grew up in America. People around me are Latino, yet I could not speak Spanish well, so I didn't exactly fit in. Maybe they'll have a very special episode about not exactly fitting into their cultural language and being made fun of for it. This show could be the Dope starring Shamik Moore for Mexicans.
Rico Suave. Principal's office, now!
I guess they're trying to take pride in the culture they don't fully understand. Though, if you're making a show aimed at kids, some of which may live in mostly white areas, this could be some of their first exposure to the culture. I don't think you should have your catchy, repeatable intro be inaccurate to the language. You're just spreading misinfo. I guess they're treating it like how the Rugrats would say phrases wrong since they didn't know any better.
It's supposed to be cute.
You think ignorance is cute? Well, I suppose you think mental retardation is downright adorable.
Now, there's a post going around saying crew members called those criticizing the show Nazis. Well, not quite. Here's the source of that in response to a comment mocking their grammar.
This is the exact reason why we are ashamed to speak our mother language and carry on the Latino tradition. It's bad enough that we're already picked on and made to feel less than by the country we live in because of the customs and traditions we carry from our Latino roots. Language is fluid and transitory depending on where you live and who you learned it from. I, the writers, nor the creators of this beautiful show, do not have to prove our Latinidad to you or any other grammar Nazi on the internet. You're welcome not to watch the show, but rest assured if you're being rude to anyone, I will call it out. Primo.
Thanks to Neon Caffeine for reading the quotes. Watch our video on Iz and the Zizzles. Correction, they called people grammar Nazis, not the regular kind, bit of an extreme term people use a lot, though many have issues with, for obvious reasons. The rest of the text is basically repeating what was said in the video. There's that displacement where you're not going to speak Spanish to the white guys, since why? And you can't really speak it to Latinos since you don't fully know the language and you get made fun of for it. So you just kinda hide that aspect of you away like I did for much of my life. The crew members' comments take pride in not quite fitting in. I was gonna say I think they should still be open to learning the correct grammar, though the more I learn about this subject, the more I realize that's just how Oye has evolved in America, so what you gonna do? I actually sent this intro to my parents who grew up in Tampico, Mexico. They're usually pretty critical about portrayals in media, though to them, they don't really see the problem with Oye Primos in terms of casual talk with friends or whatever. If you're talking to people you don't know or someone older like a teacher or elderly, you should stick to Oigan, especially in a professional setting. But different Spanish-speaking territories have different rules. Correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe this would be like if an American guy complained about how British people talk. Oi, Gov, fancy a trolley. So what else do people hate about the show? Well, there's this image going around, a crew member uploading multiple photos, one of which showing a bunch of honkies, or at least honky passing crew members with the caption, "Thanks to the crew for making this show possible." I saw that as a little odd, though I later realized that's the co-creator of Phineas and Ferb, and this is from a panel talking about multiple Disney Channel shows. Most, if not all, these guys in this photo do not work on the show. So, who created Primos?
A white woman!
Oh, no. It was a woman named Natasha Klein. Now, Klein does not sound Mexican, though, looking at a pic of her. Yeah, she's definitely Latina. And why the last name? Well, if the show's based on her, we can see her cartoon dad being white as Wayne, so maybe the same applies to her real family. The mom took up the dad's last name after marriage, very likely. Though I bet her real family did not name a sibling after women's privates.
Another roll call again. Cousin Bud, Nacho and Lita, Ted and Tabby, Antonita, Scooter, Lala and Gordita, Nachita, Chacha and Cuquita.
Yeah, Cuquita, which means small or cute, but it's become a slang term for women's genitalia and or cockroach. I see some tweets say it's a name, so I guess it's like naming someone Dick or Gaylord. It's appropriate, though easy to make fun of. It's complicated. Also, some Spanish territories say Cuquita has that meaning, while other places do not. Just because a place speaks Spanish does not mean they have the same slang and rules. Language and meaning of words change over time. It develops on the basis of, that ain't accurate, but I get what you're saying.
Scooter, Lala and Gordita.
As for less offensive names that some have issues with, there's Nacho and Nachito. Oh, and the skinny one is called Gordita, which is a food and also means fat, but I guess it's an ironic thing. Some feel that's a bit mean, but I know people whose family calls them Gorda, Gordo, Gordito, Gordo, those words. And I've known people in real life nicknamed Nacho, but I guess it's a little basic, like calling a Mexican character taco or a Japanese character sushi or spaghetti.
Spaghetti? That's Italian, you moron! Damn it, you idiots have been in this class for almost a whole school year, and the only Spanish you know is what you learned at Taco Bell. And Beavis can't even get that right.
Many issues with the show come down to creators' personal experience in one territory while other territories don't relate to it. Now, that's not as bad as the city being called Terremoto Heights, which means Earthquake Heights. Okay, looking at the context, this takes place around LA where they're frequent to earthquakes. But Mexico has a history of being devastated by quakes, so it's a bit tone deaf. There was one in 2017 killing over 300 people and destroying so many homes. This be like if you had a show following a Japanese family living in Tsunami City. Natural disasters are pretty touchy for cartoons. I recall Clarence was gonna have an episode on, I believe, a hurricane or tornado, but was rejected. Cartoon Network was worried a real disaster would occur and make the episode seem badly timed. There was also a Puffy Yumi episode about a tsunami that never aired in America. It was banned after the 2004 Indian Ocean quakes causing mass flooding. Funnily enough, I recall watching that episode in Mexico where it was not banned. But yeah, surprised Earthquake City got through. Kinda iffy. If this show followed a Korean family, it'd be a Kim Jong-oof.
Principal's office, now!
Oh yeah, so I see there are shoes on the power line. This is usually a sign of gang territory, drug dealers around, there might be a drive-by on the way, or the mark of someone who was killed. Or sometimes kids just threw them up there for fun. It's one of those, depends where you're from. I saw that a lot growing up. I used to think someone somehow fell on the power lines and were vaporized like the bad guy in Mighty Joe Young. Again, a very touchy element. If I made a Disney kid show, I'd very likely avoid that. Though, if I was making an adult cartoon, I'd have the whole damn Foot Locker up there. You got the shoes you want, Nike, Jordans, Pumas, can't find your size. The employees don't gotta look in the back, they gotta look at the top. Best of the best shoes, shock-proof shoes. Are you facing a thunder elemental in your next quest? You got the advantage. These shoes will stand the test of time.
Why are you like this? Why?
Oh yeah, so there was another crew member comment that's been circulating, essentially calling Mexico a shithole country. It's a real quote, but judging by the hashtag immigrants make America great again, I assume it's meant to be sarcastic and reference when Trump would call places shitholes. If she's really insulting her country, why would she censor it, you know? Though again, I'm pretty sure it's sarcasm, but yeah, it's kinda hard to tell when it's text. She should have put quotations around the insult.
Hey, another day in my old hood. Summer started and it's gonna be so good.
Another issue with the series is the classic orange tint sky to represent Mexico. There's only two ways to portray Mexico, apparently. Orange skies or Day of the Dead. That one James Bond movie was Day of the Dead. Mario Odyssey, Day of the Dead. Batman v Superman, where Supes helps a bunch of Mexicans, it was Day of the Dead. While the Primos live in California, I guess they radiate yellow sky energy, but LA is also a place often shown to be smoggy and orangey. Remember Predator 2? Falling Down? Grand Theft Auto San Andreas? We only saw Primos' intro, so we don't know what the rest of the locations look like, and even if it is orangey, I assume they wanted to portray a hot summer vibe. Honestly, a lot of design choices in media come down to the artist just thought it looked nice. Innocent design choice, but yeah, people are tired of Mexico being associated in such a monochrome way. I do gotta praise the game Forza Horizon 5, played it on Game Pass. The whole game's based in the country of Mexico and has so much variety. Beaches, grassy pyramids, desert towns, forests. Looks great.
No! Come on! Ugh.
Oof, that's cringe.
Now, when you look at the concept of Primos, it just looks eh. It's a family of a bunch of cousins and siblings living in the same house, a stereotype Mexicans get lumped into, and yet TLC or whatever channel has some reality show of a white family with an assload of kids. Again, Primos is based on personal experience, and sometimes that happens to line up with a stereotype. Some people might see that as bringing them down, others might relate to said experience. That's a complicated issue. Y'all deal with that. I don't want to talk about that. On to a lesser criticism. It sounds too similar to The Loud House, except if it was Latina.
I'm in a big city with my big familia. Every day here is my favorite dia. One big house in our family store. Food and laughter y mucho amor.
Oh wait, that exists. It's the Casa Grandes, which translates to large house. Loud House.
Roadhouse.
Yeah, networks usually avoid shows that are too similar to another unless you're Katzenberg or Fox. But the premise talks about how the girl's trying to figure out what makes her special and her family helps her discover it. Ain't that the movie Encanto? What even was that movie? It was like 5 storylines stitched together. Primos also mentions it'll have fantasy sequences through her notebook, so I guess that's gonna be the thing that sets it apart. The show to me just looks whatever. Typical late 2010s art style. Hate the colors. The characters are wearing green or pink, two opposite sides of the color wheel. I guess so they'd pop against the orange LA backdrop. Color theory. I mean, the Simpsons are yellow, the whole house they live in and their car are pink and purple for that reason. Yeah. So, Jay, what did you all think of Primos' intro? A show not about Mexicans, but Mexican Americans. Is much of the hate simply because language evolved differently in certain territories? Please, commence with your arguments in the comments. Though I do agree to the point that a lot of media focuses on Mexican Americans rather than Mexico or literally any other Hispanic or Latino area, but that's more of an overall issue in media rather than this show itself. Whatever, the show looks eh, and considering the backlash, I imagine changes will be made and Disney's gonna be focused testing the hell out of any more diverse shows like this. They didn't mess up this bad with Coco, and how that tried to trademark Day of the Dead. Remember that?